How's it going, guys? And today I'll be doing an operator analysis on Jager. Starting off with his primaries, Jager has the 416C carbine and he has the M870 pump action shotgun. So first I'm going to talk about Jager's most used gun, which is his carbine. In most occasions when you play Siege, you're probably going to see a Jager on the opposing team. And for most people, they don't pick him because of his ADSs. I think they mainly pick him because of his carbine. In my opinion, the carbine is the best gun in the defensive side. It has really manageable recoil, it has really good damage, and a good rate of fire. And Jager's gun is actually classified as an assault rifle, which makes it the only assault rifle on the defensive team. Which means that every other defender rocks submachine guns. And this gun alone makes Jager a really strong defender, so that's why a lot of times I pick the carbine. Now switching over to Jager's shotgun, which is the M870. It's actually the strongest shotgun in the game, having the most damage. And on top of that, it has really good range. And even though it is a pump action shotgun, Jager actually shoots the shotgun pretty fast. But despite how good this shotgun is, I never pick it because the carbine's really too good to pass up. And on top of that, the carbine does offer that range shotguns don't. So that's why on most occasions, I always go with the carbine. Now for my attachments for the carbine, I always pick an ACOG scope or a holographic scope depending on the map. And for the barrel attachment, I always pick the long barrel because I like having damage when I'm shooting someone from a long range. Now for Jager's sidearm, he has one choice, which is the P12, which is actually one of my favorite pistols. I really like how it looks, and on top of that, it has a good balance of magazine size and power. So it's really not that bad that Jager only gets one choice for his sidearm. So for Jager's gadgets, you're going to have the choices between barbed wire or the deployable shield. And in my opinion, there's really no reason not to pick barbed wire. And I really say this for two reasons. One being that if you're going to use Jager, you're mostly going to roam. So there's really no point of having a shield. And the second reason is you could use that barbed wire to actually notify you where the enemies are coming from. That way you have a better chance of killing them. So Jager's special ability is his ADSs, which are basically little drones that shoot any grenade that come in the room. This includes Thatcher's EMPs, Fuse's cluster charges, and Ash's breaching rounds. Also, any type of flashbangs and smoke grenades will be destroyed if it's in the range of the ADSs. Keep in mind though that Fuse's cluster charge could actually take out all your ADSs. This happens because Jager's ADS could only shoot down 2 grenades, so once the cluster charge activates, sometimes the ADSs might shoot the same grenade, and eventually they'll get destroyed by the cluster charge. Also note that you're only given 3 ADSs, and the best place to put them is on the door frames, or right next to windows. Keep in mind though that sometimes saving an ADS for later is not a bad idea, especially if you're going to roam with Jager. Last thing to note about the ADS is to make sure not to place them if there is a twitch drone around, because she could easily destroy all your ADSs. So it's just something to keep in mind. In order to be a good Jager, you have to be a really good roamer, and on top of that, you have to be really aggressive. You have to remember that Jager is actually equipped to be a roamer. With Jager's carbine, you could really engage any enemy in any distance. And on top of that, you are equipped with barbed wire, so it really stops people from rushing you or sneaking up behind you. So in the beginning of the round, once you place down your ADSs and your walls, you should really be heading to your spot where you're going to roam. This way, once the enemies start entering the building, you have a good idea of where they're at. So to be a really good Jager, you have to be really aggressive, and when I mean aggressive, you constantly got to be attacking the enemy, and you really got to do this for the whole entire round. So even as soon as the preparation phase ends, start attacking the attackers. And I know a lot of people don't like this, but it's not a bad idea to try to spawn kill with Jager, or even just pre-fire a spawn point. And when you do this, you're basically just wasting time for the attackers, and the less time the attackers have, the more chances you have of winning. Also, if you're facing a really experienced team, in most cases if you try spawn peeking them, they're probably going to kill you. So just try busting windows, that way you kind of slow their push down. Now once the attacking team is actually inside the building, your job is actually to always notify the enemy team that you're around them. Since Jager does have that carbine and he could engage you in any range, it's really hard to face them one-on-one. So if you're constantly shooting at your enemy or pre-firing them, you're going to make them really paranoid, and basically they're just going to waste time. The final thing I'm going to be talking about when it comes to Jager is not being afraid to get kills. When you're playing Jager, it's really your job to get kills as a roamer, but once you get 1 or 2 kills, don't be greedy, start rotating back to objective, because at that point, the attacking team lost a lot of teammates, so they're not going to be as efficient. Now I'm going to be going over some mistakes people make when they play Jager. So the most common mistake for Jager players is placing 2 ADSs right next to each other. Since Jager's active defense only shoot down 2 grenades, newer players tend to always put 2 at one window or 2 at one door. And this is really inefficient because if you place 2 ADSs right next to each other, they're going to shoot the same grenade. So it's really best to keep them on separate door frames and windows. So the second mistake I'm going to talk about is not coming outside the building as Jager. Since Jager does have that carbine, handling those people rappelling or outside the building could be really useful to the team. Especially if your objective has a lot of windows, it's really important that somebody comes out and handles the repellers, and Jager's really equipped to do so. And finally, the last mistake I'm going to mention is being way too greedy with Jager. And what I basically mean is that once you get 1 or 2 kills, you really need to start rotating closer to the objective. I know it's Jager's job as a roamer to get kills, but once it's a 5v3 situation, it's really best just to be near the objective because at that point, the attacking team has a disadvantage. And in most cases, you're going to win that fight. Now I'm going to be rating Jager on 3 things, which is loadout, gadget, and team efficiency. For Jager's loadout, I'm going to have to give him a 10 out of 10. I think Jager's loadout is probably the best loadout for a roamer. Jager easily has the best gun for the defensive side. It is an assault rifle, which is really powerful for a defender. And this basically allows him to be really versatile as a defender. And on top of that, if you do want to switch to a shotgun, he does have a really strong shotgun that has a lot of range. And the caliber size for it is pretty big when you shoot a wall, so you could easily make kill holes, or even make a hole big enough to go through. And what really helps out Jager as a roamer is that barbed wire he's given as a gadget. I know a lot of people don't utilize barbed wire as much, but it is really helpful if you are roaming. It basically acts like an alarm and notifies you when an enemy is going to come a certain direction where you place the barbed wire. So when you're roaming, it's really hard to get snuck up on with barbed wire around you. Now for Jager's gadget, I'm going to have to give him an 8 out of 10. So Jager's ADSs is not really noticeable until you don't have them. Jager's ADSs are actually pretty important to the team, especially if you're trying to hold down the objective. I'm usually the person in the room, so a lot of times I should have died with a grenade, but thanks to Jager's ADSs, it didn't go off. And a lot of people actually don't really appreciate Jager's ADSs until they're actually gone and they die from a grenade. One important thing that the ADSs actually do that nobody really notices is that they stop the destruction of barbed wire, which could really help you out in some situations. And the main reason I gave it an 8 out of 10 instead of a higher score is because sometimes the ADSs don't work even though a grenade was thrown right next to it. This can be really annoying at times because you rely on those ADSs to work and sometimes you get killed because of it. Overall, it's a really good gadget to have on your team. You don't have to worry about grenades getting thrown at you and you feel overall well protected. Now for Jager's team efficiency, I'm going to have to give him a 9 out of 10. For Jager's team efficiency, he's not really getting a 9 out of 10 because of his ADSs. Those do help a lot, especially with grenades and keeping barbed wire alive. I mainly gave Jager that score because he really is set to be the best roamer in the game. His carbine alone makes him a really dangerous threat for the attacking team. Combine that with his speed, his barbed wire, and his ADSs with him makes it really difficult to kill him. So having a good Jager on the team could really make or break a team when it comes to defending. And really that's the main reason Jager's always picked, and that's why he's really important to the team. And that's why he gets a 9 out of 10 for his team efficiency. So for Jager's overall score, he's going to get a 9 out of 10. Well, this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, hit that like button. Also, don't forget to check out my channel if you want more Rainbow Six Siege content like this. And once again, guys, thanks for watching.